Bigfoot is, by definition, big. Some say they grow to be 800 pounds. Could they really climb a tree and hang up there without breaking those branches? Or is this something else?
Again, about the same size. Mr. 15-inch track here, running up and down the hillside.
Every year, countless hikers, hunters, and campers report the same chilling experience. An overwhelming sense that they're not alone. Some catch glimpses of massive, shadowy figures slipping through the trees. Others find unexplainable footprints, too large to belong to any known animal. And then there are the sounds. Deep, guttural calls echoing through the forest with no clear source. The deeper you go, the stronger the feeling gets. But what happens when you finally turn around, only to find nothing there? Western Bigfoot Exploration is a YouTube channel dedicated to uncovering the mysteries of Bigfoot in the rugged and remote landscapes of the western United States. Jonathan, an experienced hiker and backpacker, ventures deep into the wilderness, far beyond where most have dared to go, in search of evidence. With each journey, he dives into the history of the land, explores the legends surrounding the creature, and brings his audience along for the adventure.
When they were making the logging roads in, and that's when Tom Slick found this camp on the map.
For some, the belief in Bigfoot is built on thousands of eyewitness accounts. Others approach it scientifically, examining footprints, vocalizations, and patterns of reported sightings. And then there are those who don't see it as a belief at all. It's a fact, something they know is real because they've seen it with their own eyes. In Northern California, one location has become synonymous with these encounters: Bluff Creek.
Jerry Crew's finding down there, and it wasn't but a couple of miles upriver, up creek, where they had the fuel barrels stashed, that Jerry Crew found the fuel barrels thrown into the creek too.
In the late 1950s and early 70s, logging crews working deep in the forests of Six Rivers National Forest returned to town with unsettling stories. Massive footprints appeared overnight. Heavy machinery was inexplicably overturned. Large humanoid figures lurked in the trees. In 1958, a road construction worker named Jerry Crew discovered enormous footprints in the dirt. His Hoopa native co-workers recognized them instantly, claiming they belonged to a giant that had always lived in these lands. Crew made a plaster cast of one of the tracks, and when a Eureka journalist published the story, it gained national attention. The legend of Bigfoot had taken root. On the afternoon of October 20th, 1967, everything changed. As they rode along the creek, a massive root system blocked their view of the path ahead. Rounding the bend, they spotted something moving. Patterson's horse reared, throwing him off, but in the chaos he managed to grab his camera. Sprinting forward, he fumbled with the device, but kept filming. The figure moved methodically through the clearing, its muscular frame unmistakable. The footage that followed would become the most famous Bigfoot evidence in history. Watch closely. Something worth seeing happens here.
Tree with a large root system impeding their view of what lie ahead. And when they turned the corner,
the daylight faded fast. Knowing the storm was closing in, Patterson and Gimlin documented the footprints left behind. Patterson swapped out the film under a tarp, still unsure whether he had captured anything of value. The rain hit hard the next morning, turning the route back into a treacherous mess of mud and washed-out trails. Gimlin skillfully navigated their truck out of the forest, determined to get the film developed. Once back, Patterson wasted no time. He met with Al Hodgson, a Bigfoot researcher and store owner in Willow Creek, urging him to visit the site. He insisted the footprints couldn't have been faked. There was only one set, no disturbances, suggesting a hoax. Soon, experts arrived, including journalist John Green and taxidermist Bob Titmus. Their conclusion? The prints were legitimate. More than 50 years have passed, but Bluff Creek remains a place of mystery.
Bigfoot stuff like that seems to happen all the time. why don't you film it? Well, because my camera was low. Well, how was your camera low?
Jonathan sets out to retrace the footsteps of Patterson-Gimlin, venturing into the same dense forests. Navigating the thick brush, he quickly realizes how challenging the terrain is. The steep embankments, tangled vegetation, and winding creeks create a near impenetrable environment. Watch this carefully. This moment is telling.
There goes that famous root ball. So this is what I'm guessing. We went down this way, and I believe this is the way I already said.
As night falls, exhaustion sets in. Sitting by the fire, Jonathan watches the surrounding darkness, hoping his night vision camera will capture something moving in the trees. Then, a sound breaks the silence.
Did you hear that?
A long, resonant call echoes down the canyon. It's deep, powerful, unlike any known animal in the area. Listen closely, this could be important.
Did you hear that?
Just when it seems the night couldn't get any stranger, lights appear in the distance. At first, they resemble distant car lights flickering through the trees. Then, figures approach the camp. Unexpected visitors.
There's someone squatching on Onion Lake Road. We just heard a Sasquatch.
I see lights coming from over there. They look like car lights.
Rowdy Kelly of the Bluff Creek Project and his friend Greg have arrived, bringing new energy to the search. As morning comes and the group packs up camp, something strange is recorded on camera. A 7.5-minute clip shows everyone standing within a few steps of each other. Then, less than a minute later, an anomaly appears. Something unexplainable. Review this footage carefully. Bluff Creek still holds its secrets. The footprints, the film, the stories. They all point to something existing in these woods, something that continues to evade discovery. Whether it's an undiscovered species, a lost primate, or something beyond explanation, one thing is certain: the search is far from over. Could something still be moving through these forests, hidden just beyond the firelight?
Hey fam, ready for nightmares? Check out Knock Knock for the scariest, most bone-chilling encounters caught on camera. Link in the description. If you dare.
Baffle Bigfoot is a YouTube channel famous for capturing Sasquatch activity in Florida, often in public places where few would expect. The creator, known as Florida Man, has amassed over 100 Class A sightings on video, documenting mysterious encounters that challenge conventional Bigfoot narratives. In Season 5, the channel has already recorded 10 Bigfoot on camera, showcasing creatures that look different from what most have been told.
Let's see here, I'm getting close. It was at the very end. They built this thing. Everybody wants to know about it and like all these places.
One of the most baffling discoveries revolves around a possible underground entrance in northern Florida, near Ocala, where unexplained activity has been captured near mining operations. While tracking a suspected Sasquatch hotspot, Florida Man comes across a washed-out section of road, now covered in concrete, making it nearly inaccessible.
Oh dear, okay. I was saying a snake, man. But, you can see the washout of it right here. And some concrete, whatever.
Despite this, he spots what appears to be the cave entrance just ahead. The location is difficult to reach, but it remains in sight, standing out against the altered landscape. Just as he nears the area, an unusual beam of light repeatedly shines down on him at the exact location, as if something, or someone, wants to deter him from proceeding.
It's hard to break into, but it's right in front of me. It's right
The closer he gets, the more he realizes this site has undergone significant changes, raising the question of whether someone deliberately tried to cover up the entrance. Watch closely as the cave's entrance comes into view, along with the unexplained light beam that seems to interact with his presence. Further into the exploration, an unexpected movement catches his attention. He quickly takes out his camera but misses the moment by seconds. A dark figure ducks behind cover just as he starts recording. The figure's head was visible for a brief moment before vanishing into the dense surroundings.
We didn't see no Bigfoot in there, and we just cleared it out, and we can play Frisbee course in here and do what we want. But that's the connection right here where I'm standing. I just picked this spot like...
As he scans the area, he notices a strange pattern of sticks arranged like a bullseye, resembling a spiderweb formation. These peculiar structures have been found in other reported Bigfoot hotspots, often believed to be territorial markers or communication symbols. As he observes the surrounding landscape, more oddities emerge. Watch closely as the camera captures the stick formation.
That's not him, but it was right there. And then this one right here, he's sitting right next to me.
An eerie reminder that something, or someone, could be marking this location.
He ducked out of that spot right there, and his whole head was up. Yeah, look at that. He's completely changed. He had a whole formation of sticks.
As the investigation continues, more signs of possible Sasquatch activity surface. Strange wooden structures stretch through the landscape, with sticks and limbs appearing deliberately positioned in an interwoven pattern. Some of the formations connect to trees, while others resemble entry points into an underground system. A large mound nearby seems out of place, hinting at the possibility of a hidden chamber beneath the surface.
You see the teeth on the bottom? Right there. 1, 2, 3. Nostrils and then 2 eyes.
These details are consistent with structures observed in other Bigfoot research sites, where unusual formations often correspond with reported sightings. With so many interconnected patterns, it raises the unsettling question: could these markings be guiding creatures to an entrance hidden in plain sight? Watch as the camera follows the intricate connections between tree limbs, mounds, and possible underground entry points.
A couple times. And like, all I'm talking about is like this, like, it's BS, like.
Later in the investigation, another baffling discovery emerges. A mysterious figure appears just beneath the palm trees, standing motionless as if observing from the shadows. As the camera focuses in, a strange light passes over its eye, making it briefly visible before fading into the background. This figure isn't the only one. Throughout the footage, multiple faces seem to emerge from the dense brush, only to disappear as quickly as they appear.
But eventually, he's gonna transform into something once the sun and the storm came through. They've been hollering at me the whole time. I'm like, they're making sounds at me.
Some researchers believe Sasquatch may have the ability to blend into their surroundings, using natural camouflage to remain undetected. Whether this is an example of such behavior remains uncertain, but the footage captures something undeniably unusual. Watch carefully as the light moves across the figure's eye, revealing its presence for a fleeting moment. As the expedition nears its end, another realization comes to light. The area has undergone significant changes, with construction equipment scattered around. Large machinery sits abandoned near the road, suggesting that recent work may have altered the landscape.
See the big yellow thing? It's a caterpillar. Leave them all by the road. And what happened was, and I know I say Bigfoots.
The presence of heavy equipment raises an important question. Was this location deliberately covered up? And if so, why? With multiple sightings, mysterious structures, and possible underground passages, this site holds more than meets the eye. Watch as the camera pans over the area, revealing the heavy machinery and the possible impact it has had on the investigation. World Bigfoot Central is a YouTube channel known for bringing up-to-date reports on Bigfoot, the paranormal, cryptids, alternative science, and conspiracies. With countless investigations and field research, The channel dives deep into eerie encounters and unexplained phenomena, bringing forward evidence that challenges what we believe to be true. These are the kinds of stories that leave people wondering, are we truly alone in the forests? Or is something watching from the shadows? In the depths of the Montana wilderness, a group of Bigfoot researchers embarks on a mission to relocate a specific area where they once captured footage of something lurking between the trees. The thick brush and rough terrain make navigation difficult, but their determination pushes them forward. They carefully retrace their steps, trying to line up the exact position from their previous sighting. However, something feels off. The forest seems eerily quiet, and a strange tension fills the air. As they search, they notice signs of disturbance. Branches unnaturally broken at high levels, faint impressions in the dirt, and an overwhelming sense that something is near. Then, they find it, the spot where the mysterious figure was last seen. The realization that they are standing in the same location sends chills down their spines. Are they alone, or is something watching them just as it did before? Watch closely as they document their findings and attempt to piece together the unsettling mystery.
Again, about the same size. Mr. 15-inch track here, running up and down the hillside.
As they push further into the wilderness, something unexpected appears in the soft earth. A massive footprint, deeply embedded in the ground. Measuring at least 15 inches, the print suggests an immense weight, unlike anything made by a human or known animal. The team carefully examines the track, noting its depth, the distinct toe impressions, and the way it follows an uphill path. With each step they take, more prints come into view, following a clear but eerie trail leading into the dense woods. The deeper they go, the more evident it becomes that something large was moving through the area recently. The real question is, was it just passing through, or is it still here, hiding in the shadows? Not far from this location, a seasoned hunter recounts a disturbing discovery in an entirely different setting. While moving through the woods, he begins to notice something odd. Freshly snapped tree limbs, all broken at exactly 7 feet high. The breaks are clean, unnatural, and follow a pattern along his trail. There had been no recent storms, no high winds, nothing that could explain such an unusual sight. His instincts tell him that these breaks weren't random. Years later, while gathered around a hunting camp, the hunter is caught off guard when another man unexpectedly brings up the topic of Bigfoot. What happens next shakes him to his core. The man correctly identifies the exact location of his first sighting without ever having been told. Confused and slightly unnerved, he listens as the man shares his own chilling experience. The story involves a duck hunter who had ventured into the woods, carrying his gear and searching for game, completely unaware of what he was about to witness. While tracking a fallen duck, the hunter approached a secluded pond, carefully making his way through thick, tangled brush. The footing was difficult, and it took time to reach the water's edge. But when he finally crested the embankment, he froze. Just a few feet away, standing waist-deep in the water, was something unlike anything he had ever seen before. It wasn't an animal, at least not one he recognized. It had a powerful build, dark fur, and a face that radiated intelligence, and something else. As the two locked eyes, the creature's expression changed. It bared its teeth and let out a low, menacing growl. Then, without breaking eye contact, it reached down, grabbed the duck, and bit off its head in one swift motion. Stunned, the hunter could do nothing but stand there, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. The moment felt like an eternity, but after a few seconds, the creature turned and disappeared into the trees, leaving behind nothing but ripples in the water. The hunter never spoke about the encounter for years, knowing that few would believe him. But hearing others share similar experiences made him realize he wasn't the only one. How many people have experienced something they can't explain but remain silent out of fear of ridicule? How often do we pass by evidence of something extraordinary without even realizing it? Could it be that creatures like Bigfoot exist right under our noses, moving through the wilderness undetected? If you had a first-hand encounter with the unknown, would you be willing to share it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Bazar County Bigfoot is a YouTube channel dedicated to documenting possible signs of Sasquatch activity in and around the Bazar County area. Rod Nichols, the channel's creator, explores remote locations in search of wood structures, unusual formations, and other unexplained evidence that could suggest something unknown is moving through these forests. His investigations often take him deep into the wilderness, where he carefully observes every detail, capturing the strange and the unexpected. While walking through one of his usual research spots near a public wilderness park, something unusual catches his eye. The location is not far from a playground, and in the distance, the sounds of people can still be heard. However, the deeper he moves into the woods, the more the surroundings change.
I just happened to catch that, and this is like, I don't know, very interesting. Here's a trail that goes in, right here, and then this is kind of the opening that it's in. That's kind of interesting, right?
He spots an opening just off a foot trail. Something about it feels different.
It looks like it might be some kind of a hangout, maybe.
It's a small clearing, partially enclosed by natural barriers, yet it appears as though something, or someone, has been spending time there. The way the area is laid out raises questions. There's an arrangement of sticks and natural debris that looks deliberate, as if placed with intention. A particular pile of materials draws his attention, seeming too structured to be random. Could this be a sign of Sasquatch activity? The more he looks, the more he notices how the environment around him feels subtly altered, as though something has been interacting with it. Watch closely as he examines the scene and pieces together what he's found.
Look at this. I kind of just stumbled onto this, caught my eye.
Moving a few feet further, another odd formation comes into view. This time it's a collection of rocks and wood, carefully arranged in a way that suggests purpose. The rocks don't appear to have been scattered by nature. Instead, they seem positioned with thought, forming what could be an intentional design. Nearby, sticks are stacked in a way that doesn't match the natural growth patterns of the forest. Some of the wood appears to have been cut or broken, yet their placement is unnatural, neither random nor purely the work of weather or wildlife. He continues studying the arrangement, taking note of the patterns and the way each piece fits together. If this was constructed by something intelligent, what was the purpose? Was it a marker, a shelter, or something else entirely? The precise nature of the layout makes it clear that these formations weren't created by chance. Whether the explanation is human, animal, or something more mysterious remains unknown.
This seems to be like a little clearing right here where you saw that little rocks in a circle, little ring, if you will.
Further along the path, another clearing reveals itself, and within it, something even more intriguing. In the center of the space, a small circle of rocks appears, standing out against the natural landscape. The rocks are arranged too neatly to be accidental, and alongside them, additional stacks of wood are carefully placed. The entire area seems structured, almost as if it serves a purpose beyond the randomness of nature. The position of the materials suggests something, or someone, has put effort into organizing them. The more he observes, the more apparent it becomes that this location holds significance. Perhaps it's a resting spot, a blind, or even a form of communication between creatures that remain unseen. Whatever the case, it raises more questions than answers. Watch as he explores the details and continues to uncover small yet significant anomalies in the environment. These discoveries highlight the strange and unexplained elements often overlooked in the wilderness. Could these structures be signs of Bigfoot activity? Are they remnants of something we have yet to fully understand? Every investigation brings new possibilities, and the deeper one looks, the more mysteries unfold. If you've ever encountered anything unusual in the woods, something you couldn't quite explain, share your story in the comments below. You never know who else might have seen the same thing. Unexplained Maine is a YouTube channel famous for its deep dives into mysteries, from Bigfoot to UFOs and the paranormal. A group of friends ventures into Maine's vast wilderness, searching for answers to the unexplained. One of their investigations leads them to Mount Kineo, a place rich with history and strange encounters. The state of Maine is a land of untouched beauty, with 90% of it covered in dense forests. This makes it an ideal setting for cryptid sightings, and for one family, an encounter with a strange creature changed their lives forever. Mount Kineo itself has an extensive past, dating back thousands of years. Native American tribes from across New England once traveled there, drawn by a unique type of stone called rhyolite, which was even more durable than flint.
It was called rhyolite. Rhyolite worked so well, better than flint, and it held the edge a lot better.
It was so valuable that different tribes, some who were known enemies, put aside their conflicts just to access it. In the mid-1800s, settlers built a tavern on the island, and by the 1880s, a grand hotel stood there, attracting the wealthiest travelers from across the country. One of the researchers, a seasoned outdoorsman, hikes deep into the back trails, away from the well-traveled paths.
It gets close to you to a point. When those noises get close enough to you,
yes,
that's when it usually cuts off, because that's when they don't want you to know where they are.
As he moves through the thick underbrush, he suddenly hears loud crashing noises. The sound is rhythmic, steady, deliberate. Unlike the erratic movement of a moose or deer, this noise suggests something moving on two legs. He calls out, asking if someone is there. Silence. Then, just beyond the tree line, a massive black figure moves quickly behind a tree before vanishing from sight.
But there was just this one section where I could see a black figure standing, just go behind the tree.
The thick forest swallows whatever it was, and the sound stops entirely. With no time to investigate further, he pushes forward at a rapid pace, covering miles in record time to catch the last ferry off the island. Watch for yourself and decide if something more than just wildlife was lurking in those woods.
You know, so I kept listening to it, and it went on probably for a good 100 feet.
Not convinced, he returns to Mount Kineo the following week, this time avoiding the main trails. Instead of climbing up toward the tower, he takes a long detour, venturing into the most isolated part of the island. This time, he doesn't hear anything at first. No strange noises, no crashing movement, just the distant sound of red squirrels chattering in the trees.
I got on the trail, and it's rough going along there. And I didn't hear anything except...
But as he presses further into the untouched terrain, he finds himself scaling rugged ledges and maneuvering through dense brush. In these silent, hidden areas, away from the noise of human activity, he believes something could be watching. The real question is, what? Watch closely as he explores an area where few dare to venture.
I go into rough spots, because if you go to the quiet spots that people don't want to go.
The idea of a massive creature surviving in this region seems more possible when considering the vastness of the wilderness. Looking west from Mount Kineo, the land stretches out for miles, an unbroken expanse leading toward Pittston Farm.
So if you were a 10-foot tall, intelligent, bipedal creature, and I'm not even saying all Bigfoot are bipedal, because there's plenty of sightings where they're on all fours.
This is where another researcher previously discovered a set of enormous footprints crossing an open field before disappearing into the forest. Out here, human presence is rare, making it the perfect place for something to remain unseen.
Some of the biggest black bear in the state are from up in that area.
Oh yeah.
Some of the largest black bears in the state roam these areas, But could something else be calling this land home? The thought lingers as they recall how difficult it is to move through this terrain. The woods are dense, the undergrowth is thick, and every step is a challenge. But for those who seek the unknown, the effort is worth it. It's not just about finding something. It's about proving that the impossible might just be real. Watch and hear what makes this area the perfect hiding place for something undiscovered. In their ongoing search, one pattern keeps emerging: unexplained wood structures deep in the wilderness. These aren't fallen trees or storm damage. They appear deliberately placed, forming teepee-like formations or strange barriers.
Yeah, and pay attention to it.
Sure.
And then also pay attention to the way trees are laying on the ground. Some of them are like a barrier, almost kind of directing you.
Some believe they serve as markers, almost like a cryptid's version of a trail system. Others suspect they could be signs of communication between unknown entities. Experienced outdoorsmen recognize the difference between natural occurrences and something intentionally constructed. The consistency of these structures raises more questions than answers. In one discovery, they find something particularly strange. On top of an X-shaped formation, a dead frog is carefully placed, as if left there on purpose. Who, or what, could be responsible for these eerie arrangements? Watch for yourself and decide if these structures could be evidence of something more. The Trail to Bigfoot is a YouTube channel famous for documenting the mysterious and unexplained. With boots-on-the-ground investigations deep into Florida's swamps, the team brings viewers face-to-face with the unknown. Their journey is raw and unfiltered, presenting every experience exactly as it unfolds. Each step through the wilderness peels back another layer of the mystery, making one thing clear: there's something out there. Pushing deeper into the thick terrain, the team navigates past a known point on their trail, uncertain of what lies ahead. The altitude is relentless, the heavy packs adding strain with every step, but they press on.
I would say at least ballpark 60 pounds for everybody. I know I'm near 60, so we'll do our best.
One of the team members, Chris Reinhardt, shows incredible determination, carrying an extra bag in his hand while hauling nearly 60 pounds on his back. The challenge of the expedition is real, but so is the commitment. Every rustle in the distance, every unexplained sound fuels the search for answers. The environment is unforgiving, but their focus never wavers. Watch yourself. Determination alone isn't always enough when dealing with the unknown.
I got to say this, Chris Reinhardt got a big heart. He don't like giving up.
The air is still, but something feels off. Then, a deep, resonant vocalization cuts through the silence. It's low, powerful, and impossible to ignore. The team stops, processing what they just heard.
A type of a vocal came off on my 90 degrees, and I was in the middle of the team. It wasn't the guys behind me. I'm accustomed to their voice.
The sound came from about 90 degrees to their right, placing them directly in the middle of whatever or whoever is out there. This is not the first time they've heard something unusual, but the intensity of the moment is undeniable. Just last night, footsteps surrounded their camp, strange movements stirring in the darkness.
But Chris was saying that he was hearing footsteps around the camp, and we heard stuff over here on this side also.
The activity was concentrated in one specific area, hidden beyond a dense section of trees. Even now, standing in the daylight, the place feels different. Tension lingers in the air, as if something is still watching from the shadows. Watch closely. Sometimes, the things you can't see are the ones you should fear the most. The investigation continues, and the team moves toward the area where most of the activity occurred. The brush is thick, visibility low.
And that's over here. So let me just maneuver a little bit sideways. Hang on. So we're going to go in between those two sticks.
But a strange formation stands out. a massive X shape formed by fallen trees. It looks intentional, not random. Structures like this have been reported in Bigfoot research for years, often seen as territorial markers or signs of communication. But what's more unsettling is the knowledge that the majority of last night's disturbances came from directly beyond this formation, an area too dense to see through.
What's going on was basically right through the X, it seemed like. See the X right there? It was like right, the majority of it was right there.
Something was there, hidden just out of reach. Even now, as they step closer, the feeling of being watched lingers. The woods are silent, unnaturally so. Could something be standing just beyond sight, observing their every move? Keep your eyes open. Sometimes it's not about what you hear, but what you don't.
So let's go here a little bit more deeper. I don't think we're going to see anything, that's for sure.
Further along the trail, the team stumbles upon something unusual. Impressions in the dirt, deep enough to suggest something large passed through. There's no tread, no sign of a boot or shoe, just a clean, pressed-down shape. The dry substrate makes it difficult to get a clear outline, but the positioning is compelling.
1, 2, 3, and it's a good stride on it.
Yeah, so it's just an indication that...
So that's the left, and then he came around and probably the right and possibly left there.
The impressions suggest a stride pattern too long for a human, leading toward a natural blind. A perfect place for something to observe without being seen. The way the surrounding material is arranged, the way sticks remain unbroken, all point to something moving with calculated precision. It's not just about footprints, it's about the intelligence behind them. When you're deep in the wilderness, sometimes the real question isn't what left the tracks, but why? Look closely. Nature has a way of hiding its biggest secrets in plain sight. Then comes the most compelling find of all. A massive 16-inch footprint, clear and undeniable, left behind in the soft earth.
Step down this slope and we got a 16-inch print here. So they look really good. You actually got a whole little series of them. Looks like you must have gone up and down on the same
This looks like a left foot with a heel.
The depth of the impression suggests significant weight, and the details align with what researchers describe as the structure of a Sasquatch foot. The width, the arch, the metatarsal break, all of it fits. Nearby, another print appears, this one smaller, suggesting the presence of more than one individual.
That's a left foot, got a small foot, and then you have the larger foot here, where you have your heel plant, rolls up and gives in.
The way the feet interact with the terrain, bending with the land, rather than pressing flat like a boot, is something researchers have documented before. The team examines the prints closely, measuring, analyzing every curve and indentation. This isn't just a random disturbance in the dirt. This is something deliberate, something moving with purpose. Evidence like this raises more questions than answers. If these creatures exist, how close were they? And more importantly, are they still watching? Watch this moment carefully. Sometimes proof is left behind for those willing to see it. North American Bigfoot Center is a YouTube channel dedicated to investigating and preserving evidence of Sasquatch activity. The center, founded by experienced field researcher Cliff Barackman, serves as a hub for enthusiasts and scientists alike, exploring the deep wilderness in search of proof.
2023, I went for a solo hike in a location that I'm pretty familiar with. I've been to this area before and looked around, and I thought this area is probably good enough to keep my eye on.
On February 4th, 2023, Cliff embarks on a solo hike into a familiar location, a place he has visited before, believing it to be worth continued observation. The day is cold and misty, a typical February scene in Oregon. But the road conditions are good despite recent snow and rain. The damp ground offers a prime opportunity to find fresh tracks of any wildlife moving through, whether coyotes, bears, or possibly even Bigfoot. As he makes his way along the trail, Cliff stumbles upon signs of wildlife.
But on the way out, look what I missed.
But then I started looking. I don't know, man. You tell me, doesn't that resemble toes?
A small pile of coyote scat appears on the path, an encouraging indicator that animals are indeed active in the area. However, other than that, the road remains largely undisturbed. No deer, no mountain lion tracks, and most notably, no Sasquatch footprints. The thought crosses his mind. Perhaps this isn't the right place, or maybe it's simply not the right time of year. The only way to know for sure is through repeated visits, tracking patterns over time.
This footprint, even though I think it's a maybe at this point, this footprint, if it is what I think it is pretty subtle.
With that in mind, he continues onward, determined to see what the rest of the trail might reveal. A set of impressions in the ground, partially covered by leaf litter, appears to resemble toes. The marks are subtle, yet distinct, lined up in a way that suggests a footprint. 5 rounded shapes form the front, while the rest of the indentation curves slightly. The problem is the surrounding debris. Casting the print would be difficult, as any attempt to remove the leaves would only reveal more rocks underneath. Still, it's a fascinating discovery.
I don't think we can cast this because I stepped on top of this leaf litter and I started moving it away already, but there's not going to be any details underneath. It's just going to expose the rocks.
One that makes him wonder how he walked past it without noticing earlier. Perhaps the print wasn't there before. Maybe something stepped in that spot while he was deeper in the woods. It's a possibility that lingers in the back of his mind. Watch closely. Something catches his attention on the way back, a detail he completely missed before. Now watch as the most crucial part of the process begins, the delicate retrieval of a plaster cast. Having taken the time to create a mold of one of the prints, Cliff prepares to remove it from the ground. The cast is thick, about an inch deep, and prying it loose requires patience. Without a shovel, he carefully digs with his fingers, loosening the soil underneath to break the suction holding it in place. Slowly but surely, the cast begins to lift. The tension is evident. If it cracks, it can be repaired, but the goal is to keep it intact. Bit by bit, he maneuvers it free, revealing the full imprint. Holding it up, he inspects the details.
But yeah, then I'll just let it dry for a day or two, maybe put it by the fire, maybe a week if I feel like it. It's hard to wait a week.
The cast is rough, filled with bits of gravel and leaf litter, but the shape is unmistakable. Some debris can be removed, while other pieces will stay embedded until they dry and fall out naturally. This is where patience comes into play. Letting the cast dry completely is crucial, even if the anticipation is difficult to resist. He recalls past experiences, like when he obtained the London tracks and had to wait weeks before analyzing them. The waiting game is part of the process, but the reward is worth it. Another find is just ahead. Watch as Cliff scans the rocky terrain for additional signs. As he glances back over a particular area, something catches his eye. The ground is uneven, with stones scattered across it, but a distinct impression stands out.
That's interesting. It's just an impression that this kind of boot size. Let me see how this compares. It's pretty boot size, but who's walking up that?
The shape is subtle, yet the outline appears different from the surrounding formations. Upon closer examination, it becomes clear that something heavy has stepped here. A bend in the soil, a depression where pressure was applied, evidence of movement. Could it be another track? He pulls out a measuring tool to get a better idea of the size. The imprint measures approximately 12 inches, falling within the range of a boot print.
Well, it's more like 12 and a half. No, it's like 12 inches. That's right there in the boot size. But, I don't know, man. It's a possibility.
But something about it seems off. The way it extends forward, the way the earth is pressed down, it raises more questions. Was it left by a person, or could it be something else? Another clue, another mystery waiting to be unraveled. Mo Sargi is a YouTube channel famous for its intense off-grid adventures and fearless explorations of the unknown. With over 2.8 million subscribers, Mo has become a trusted name for those seeking to escape the noise of everyday life. and immerse themselves in raw, unfiltered wilderness expeditions. His videos often take viewers deep into forests, abandoned places, and icy mountains, searching for cryptids, paranormal encounters, and moments that test the limits of human courage.
What is up, Sergeants? Welcome back to our first winter camping video in the RV motorhome in the middle of literally no...
In one of his chilling winter camping expeditions, Mo heads into the frozen forests and mountains on a mission to find Bigfoot. The environment is harsh, temperatures hover around -5 degrees, but Mo is undeterred. He stands at the edge of an icy expanse, contemplating whether the ice is solid enough to hold his weight.
But what we're doing tonight is Bigfoot hunting. This area has had Bigfoot sightings a lot lately, and people have been talking about it. So we are actually going to be spending the night here.
Even though it's not the coldest day, he's cautious. The eerie silence is suddenly broken by an odd growl in the distance. Mo decides to sit quietly for a few moments, listening intently. Whatever made that sound hasn't repeated it, leaving an unsettling question hanging in the air.
Way out there. What the... Huh? That was a weird noise.
Mo wonders aloud whether it could be a moose, but the sound doesn't match anything he's heard before. The growl feels primal, something unnatural. As the hours pass, Mo's friend Chris starts building a makeshift shelter, despite them already having one. Mo hears something strange, something in the sky. There shouldn't be any planes out here. He remembers filming weird drones in New Jersey and now wonders if something similar is happening. They scan both the woods and the sky, now on high alert.
What? What happened? You heard something?
I heard something.
What did you hear?
Hours into their trek, Mo and Chris stumble across footprints in the snow. Mo had walked the area earlier, but not all of these prints are his. They follow them curiously as they head toward a nearby trail, but then abruptly stop.
Okay, so look, I see footprints, I think over there.
Where?
Continuing on, but we're actually literally in the lake right now.
Whoever made them turned around and left. Mo wonders if they got spooked by something. He and Chris stand at the edge of a frozen body of water, trying to decide whether to cross.
All right, let's just take it one step at a time. But just to show you guys, this is all ice.
Yeah.
We could have brought skates and skated this. Oh. Dude, that would be cool.
Mo cautiously steps onto the ice, testing its strength. It's solid, and they slowly move forward, choosing the edge for a safer path. They laugh about how un-Canadian it is to be so wary of ice, but the risk is real. Their goal is to get to the other side, and they figure it's shallow enough not to be dangerous if they fall in. Step by step, they cross the frozen expanse, joking about how they should have brought skates.
Look at this.
Next video.
Next video, skating on a lake.
Later in the night, Mo is behind the camera when something unexpected happens. As he pans across the frozen lake, he catches a glimpse of something strange. A figure appears to be standing on the ice in the distance. But as quickly as it appears, it vanishes. Mo's heart races.
We're about middle of the lake now.
He questions what he's seeing, struggling to trust his eyes in the disorienting landscape of white snow and dark shadows. The thick hat he's wearing makes it hard to hear clearly, but there's a sound, a deep, resonant voice. It's unsettling.
You heard that?
This Bigfoot hunting trip is turning into one of the most dangerous things he's ever done. Walking across a frozen lake at night, surrounded by deep silence and creeping fear, takes a mental toll. The snow and darkness distort his senses, making it hard to stay grounded. As they return to camp, Mo discovers something even more disturbing. Huge footprints right by their RV. These prints weren't there before.
Oh yeah, look at all these prints.
Oh my god.
Right by our, dude, that's right by our freaking campsite.
Oh my god.
There's the RV right there. And look at all these ones.
They're massive, far larger than a human's, and they stretch all around their campsite. Mo and Chris can't figure out how they missed them earlier. They count at least 2 different sets of prints, and it's clear something enormous has been walking on the ice, stalking them without making a sound.
Like, we weren't expecting to walk on the ice, but look, there's 2 of them, like something massive walking on the ice. Look at all these prints.
The realization is chilling. They know Bigfoot is said to be elusive, but now they're wondering if they've just had the closest encounter yet.
Look at this one. That looks like a foot. That looks like an actual Bigfoot, dude. Oh my God. Bigfoot was definitely here. That's his footprint.
This chilling adventure shows why Mo Sargi's channel remains one of the go-to places for cryptid hunters and thrill seekers alike. Whether it's footprints, growls, or unexplained figures on the ice, Mo's explorations deliver genuine moments of fear and awe. Watch yourself. Something's always watching back.
In the early hours of the morning, deep in the forests of Burlington, Ontario, an explorer from Turtle Island, Sasquatch set off on a hike along an unfamiliar trail. The air was crisp, the forest still waking up, when something unusual caught his eye.
Came around a corner on a new trail, and I found this beauty. Probably 40 feet tall.
Towering in the middle of the woods stood an enormous teepee-like structure, unlike anything he had ever encountered. Standing at an estimated 40 feet tall, possibly even reaching 50 feet, this formation was massive.
From left to right at the base, you're looking at, I don't know, 20 feet. And the opening there at the door is probably 8 feet tall.
At its base, it stretched roughly 20 to 25 feet, with an entrance standing about 8 feet high. The sheer size alone made it an extraordinary find. Determined to get a precise measurement of the structure's height, the explorer reached for his tape measure. However, it quickly became clear that using a standard tool would be nearly impossible.
As soon as I start trying to stick the tape measure up that high, it's gonna be flimsy and fall.
As soon as he tried to extend it upwards, it became flimsy, bending under its own weight before reaching anywhere near the top. Thinking quickly, he devised a different approach. He searched the ground for a long, sturdy branch, one that could stand upright and give him a better visual comparison. Finding one that seemed tall enough, he carefully propped it up against the structure, using it as a reference point. Once the branch was stable, he laid it flat on the ground and measured its length. Even this method had its challenges, positioning the branch correctly without it slipping, making sure it stood as straight as possible. But in the end, it provided the best estimate. His calculations confirmed what he had suspected all along. The structure was significantly larger than it appeared on camera. The sheer scale was something that couldn't be fully captured through a lens. Beyond the structure's size, there were other details that made this discovery even more fascinating. He examined the individual logs and branches making up the formation. Many of them appeared to have been deliberately arranged, leaning uniformly against the central support. Some of the pieces were far too large for a single person to lift easily, raising even more questions about how they got there. One particular tree trunk stood out. It ran straight up the middle of the teepee and was still alive. Unlike the rest of the structure, this tree had healthy green foliage at the top, showing no signs of decay. The realization was striking. This wasn't just a pile of fallen debris. Something, or someone, had built this structure around a living tree. What exactly was this? A survival shelter? A naturally fallen pile of trees? Or something else entirely? The structure's size, design, and construction left more questions than answers. It didn't resemble any known human-made shelter in the area, and the arrangement of materials seemed too deliberate to be purely natural. Whether a product of nature or something more mysterious, it was a discovery worth documenting. As Turtle Island Sasquatch continues to explore the wilderness, finds like these keep the search for answers alive. What else is hidden deep in the forests, waiting to be uncovered? Deep in the remote forests of southern Ontario, a researcher returned to a familiar site known as the Seven Structures area, a location where strange and deliberate arrangements of wood and stone have been discovered over the years. Having visited this place many times before, he was surprised to find that things had changed. Some of the large rocks that were originally part of the structure had been moved, shifted in ways that defied explanation.
From over the past year, that has been moved
not just slipped out the side a little bit, moved down and over.
One particular rock stood out. It had not merely slipped from its original position or rolled slightly downhill, it had been deliberately moved down and over from where it had been before.
I just don't understand, like why. I mean, I do, but a human would not do that.
Given its size and weight, such a feat would require immense strength. The researcher contemplated the possibility who or what could have done this. He was certain that no human had moved the rock. Its previous placement already seemed unnatural, and now it was being used to help support some of the massive branches in the structure.
Just something I didn't notice yesterday that I just did now is there's a beautiful branch that's sitting on top of a small broken branch right here on this hemlock.
As he scanned the area, he noticed something he hadn't the day before, a perfectly positioned branch, newly incorporated into the formation. The realization struck him. Changes were happening in real time, and he was witnessing clear evidence of something or someone interacting with this site.
This long tree trunk with the roots still on the end, that hasn't always been here. That's been brought in. And when I first found the original structure here, that was then knocked down and then rebuilt.
The deeper he explored, the more anomalies he uncovered. A long tree trunk with its roots still intact had appeared in the area, yet he was certain it had not been there in previous visits. This wasn't the only shift. When he first discovered the structure months ago, it had been knocked down and later rebuilt.
I can show you some pictures. There was a really beautiful, a really pretty, nice big round rock on the ground here.
Comparing his past photographs, he recalled that a large, rounded rock had once rested on the forest floor in this exact spot, but now it was gone. Searching the area, he couldn't find another rock that matched its description, though several other stones had been repositioned in seemingly deliberate ways. One rock in particular stood out. It had been placed recently, sitting atop the ground with no sign of natural disturbance. Unlike ordinary scattered stones, this one appeared intentionally set, raising even more questions.
Oh, here, I wanted to show you inside one more time, just to show you the just the beauty of what this looks like.
As he examined the towering construction in greater detail, he was struck by its sheer scale. The structure reached an impressive height, far taller than any person could reach unaided.
Here's the floor, it's just beautiful. Just like a clear backbone.
On the inside, the ground was clear, offering a near-perfect view of what he called the backbone of the formation. It was there that another baffling discovery awaited.
A mix of all those pieces of wood. I mean, there's the end right there. You can see it's like a little roots there. That's just sitting on the against these other pieces of wood.
At the highest point, a large piece of wood rested on top of the others, positioned in a way that seemed to defy logic.
There's not even a main, like a support, like a V, like a Y, underneath this main backbone. Now how that's staying up, it's incredible. It's just sitting right there.
Unlike a typical support beam, it had no visible brace, no Y or V-shaped support beneath it to hold it up. Instead, it simply rested atop the formation, perfectly balanced in a way that seemed almost impossible. The researcher stood in awe, questioning how such a massive log had been placed so precisely without collapsing the entire structure. Each visit to the 7 structures area revealed new changes, rocks shifting, tree trunks appearing, and structures being rebuilt. These were not minor adjustments made by the wind or the passage of time. They were deliberate, methodical, and unexplainable through conventional means. What force was responsible for these ongoing changes? Could it be the work of wildlife, or was something else at play? The researcher continued to document each discovery, determined to unravel the mystery unfolding in this isolated stretch of wilderness. One thing was certain. Something was watching, something was building, and the forest was keeping its secrets, at least for now. In the dense, silent forests of Arizona, researchers Mitchell Waite and Susan Farnsworth embarked on yet another expedition in their ongoing quest to uncover evidence of Bigfoot. On this particular day, they recorded footage that would later become the subject of intense analysis.
I wanted to show just how close I got to this Bigfoot.
footage that might just capture a close encounter with the elusive creature. As the team moved cautiously through the wilderness, something unusual caught their attention. The forest, typically alive with the sounds of birds chirping, insects buzzing, and rustling leaves, was unnervingly silent. There was no movement, no distant animal calls, only the sound of their own footsteps crunching through the dry grass. This sudden lack of sound is a phenomenon often reported in alleged Bigfoot encounters. Some researchers speculate that the presence of such a large, intelligent being may cause wildlife to retreat, leading to an eerie silence. Others believe it could be a form of infrasound, low-frequency sound waves that can create feelings of unease or disorientation in humans. Regardless of the cause, the unsettling quiet put the team on high alert. Then, something caught Triton's eye. A dark figure was partially obscured among the trees. Initially, he dismissed it as a simple tree stump, but its positioning and shape seemed oddly deliberate. He decided to zoom in to get a better look.
One thing this allows us to do is, through the freeze frames, you can tell that the head moves slightly.
At first, the supposed tree stump remained motionless. However, as Triton zoomed in further, something unexpected happened. The head moved. It was a subtle shift, barely noticeable at first, but undeniable when analyzed frame by frame. This was a crucial moment in the investigation. If this were a mere tree stump, it would remain entirely static. But the freeze frame analysis confirmed that the figure exhibited slight movements. Its ability to remain still for long periods, blending into the natural environment, showcased the stealth and patience often attributed to Bigfoot. Many who claim to have encountered these creatures describe them as masters of camouflage. Their fur, posture, and ability to stay motionless allow them to blend seamlessly with tree trunks, fallen logs, and shadows. This discovery reinforced that theory, making it clear why so many sightings end in uncertainty. These beings are experts at evading detection.
But by adding color, you can see it a little bit better. So it's not brown, it's gray.
To gain more clarity, the research team decided to apply color enhancements to the footage. Initially, the figure appeared dark brown, blending in with the surrounding environment. However, after adjustments, a surprising detail emerged. The figure wasn't brown at all. It was gray. The texture of its hair was also notable. Instead of appearing coarse like that of a bear or other wild animals, it had a softer, more uniform look. This detail added another layer of mystery. Could this be a variation of Bigfoot with a different fur color, or was it an older individual whose hair had grayed with age? The research team wasn't alone in their investigation. Online, virtual researchers meticulously analyzed each frame, looking for additional evidence. While not every frame provided a clear image, the dedication of these digital investigators was invaluable. Their efforts helped refine the analysis and shed more light on what had been captured on camera. The footage from April 11, 2015 remains a compelling piece of evidence in the study of Bigfoot. From the eerie silence of the forest to the subtle movement of an assumed tree stump, every detail adds to the intrigue. Whether or not this video serves as definitive proof, one thing is clear: something out there is watching, moving, and expertly avoiding detection. For the researchers at Bigfoot Research, this was yet another step in their relentless pursuit of the truth. The search continues, and with each new piece of evidence, they edge closer to understanding one of the greatest wilderness mysteries of all time.
So what do you think? Are these just tricks of the mind, or is something really out there, watching from the shadows? If Bigfoot exists, how close has it really gotten? Let us know in the comments if you've ever felt like something was watching you in the woods. And if you enjoyed this investigation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on the next journey into the unknown. Stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, you never know what's hiding just beyond the trees.